she has literally put herself as a barrier to Jeremiah meeting these women and making connections with them and vice versa, which is, again, incredibly insecure. But also, did we forget what we're doing? You're not on Love is Blind. You are on Love Island, where the literal challenges are making out with everybody. Welcome to Dating Déjà Vu, the place where we break down your patterns, your pitfalls, and your personal growth in modern dating. I'm your host, Christina Hathaway, marriage and family therapist and dating and relationship expert. And in today's episode, we are doing a déjà vu of Love Island USA. I am breaking down Huda and Jeremiah's relationship. If you're living under a rock, still worth listening because I'm going to explain the behaviors that I am seeing as a dating and relationship expert. So stick around. If your dating and love life looks a lot of the same, it might be deja vu, but it also might be you. So let's figure it out together. What is up, Deja Crew? I'm so excited to get into this. I've actually recorded this episode twice, but I keep missing things. So I'm going to follow my notes that I made. So just bear with me. So I today am talking about Huda and Jeremiah from Love Island. So for those of you who have no idea what I'm talking about, let me just break down the relationship. So Huda and Jeremiah paired up first day. Now, that's not abnormal. We saw Serena and Cordell do that last season. But the difference between the intensity of how the relationship unfolds is abnormal. So they pair up and they become very, very close very quickly. We see this dual type of like love bombing happening and this kind of fantasy, right? That's being created by both of them about their realities. Okay. However, what I'm going to break down is when that fantasy pop bursts and this shift that happens. The shift goes away from like love addiction style of interaction and goes a little bit more into a more highly insecure type of behavior and thus manipulation. It's been so interesting to watch this. So they have been together since the beginning. The intensity, the love bombing started is very mutual. And I'm thinking week or day 3. Now, for those of you saying one day in the villa is like a week in the villa, fine. Week 3, right? At this point, they're on 3 months of dating if we're using that timeline because we're at episode 12. And I'm just going to tell you at 3 months, at 3 years, at 30 years, the behaviors that I'm seeing are not healthy. I don't care how much time it's been, it's not healthy. But in the very beginning, they were talking about each other like they had known each other forever. They're making very bold statements. So much so that some of the guys were like, yo, like, it's only been a couple of days. Are you sure you don't want to like explore other people? Because that's the whole concept of the show. It's a bunch of singles that come together. Their job is to make connections with each other and ultimately leave with love. And the whole idea is to do it in a genuine way. Because we, as the viewers, are going to decide who wins in the end. What couple is the most genuine, has the best connection? But we need to see everyone exploring, right? But again, these two do not do that. First off the bat, we're seeing this fantasy, right? We're seeing it develop. And I'm seeing 2 love addicts, plain and simple. And again, if you don't remember the love addict, love avoidant episode, love addiction is when connection becomes compulsion. These are the heavy, heavy hitters. They are obsessed with someone after the first date. And again, they create this fantasy around how that person is. They thrive in the fantasy and they get hooked on the idea of what someone could be rather than who they actually are. And for both of them, we're seeing this fantasy, this too good to be true. I can't believe this. And I'm going to focus a lot on her on this episode. I will talk about him at the end. She starts creating this idea that they're the most established couple. They have the strongest connection. They're the mom and the dad because they're so established. She even mentions things about their wedding, so on and so forth. So she's in it. And we're talking 5 days in, 7 days in, even 12 days in. And for her, a part of that love addiction is the fantasy, but also the constant need for reassurance. She keeps pushing and pushing this man to talk about, she wants to be closed off like 5 days in. People don't get closed off. It's like having basically being exclusive weeks into this process. But she keeps saying like, oh, but we're not closed off yet, but we're not talking to anyone else. So she's trying to control the narrative that even though we're not using the words closed off, because she obviously can see that he's not ready to do that because he's literally said, I'm not ready to do that. She's manipulating it to coerce him to still not talk to anybody else. Now, the concept of the show is again making connections, and we get the bombshells that come in, and they ultimately are there. They're the hot ass people to disrupt the couples and see if they could make stronger connections with these people. And this is where things get really wonky. We have Amaya, Hannah, and Iris are all female bombshells. And Jeremiah is a very attractive man. He's a very attractive. He's probably one of the most attractive men I've seen on my TV in a while. So of course, these women are going to be attracted to him, and they are. And they make comments about wanting to pursue him. She has very clearly almost put herself in between these women and Jeremiah, whether that's through comments, whether that's through backbends and calling women outside of their name, whether that is manipulation strategies of taking them away and again feeding them the fantasy about what the relationship is like. She has literally put herself as a barrier to Jeremiah meeting these women and making connections with them and vice versa, which is again incredibly insecure. But also, did we forget what we're doing? You're not on Love is Blind. You are on Love Island, where the literal challenges are making out with everybody. Seriously, that's what happens, you guys. The other part of the fantasy that we're seeing is when she's talking to the other women. She literally like says that that everything is great and we're so wonderful and he's so happy. Like she speaks for him. She also says this with Sierra's dude. I always forget his name, and I know it's like a dude name when she talks about having a kid. So the kid conversation I'll get back to, but she says, "Oh yeah, Jeremiah loves kids." So let's get into that real quick. So Huda is a mom, and I know all my mom friends, like that's a part of their identity and that's a part of their pride, right? Like they love being a mom. They lead with being a mom. Even my single parent moms. I have a daughter. That's the most important thing to me. But this woman waits. And that's where I have a big problem. She waits to tell him. It's almost as if she wanted to kind of latch on to him before she told him, because then the likelihood of him abandoning her or rejecting her is less. So she's using her daughter and being a mom almost as a manipulation slash almost like weaponizing it in a way. She then also, in a conversation we'll get to, tells him, well, I'll tell another guy so you can talk to that guy about our problems. So again, she's using it as a manipulation tactic. But anyways, I was talking about the fantasy that she's telling to other women. Now, the bombshells come in and they, again, all want attention with Jeremiah. He makes out with them because, again, they come in and make out with everybody. And one of the bombshells, specifically Iris, who's very beautiful, wants to talk to him and take him away. In the conversation, he and Huda had got into a fight about a pancake, which I'll talk about. And he was feeling a bit frustrated. And while he obviously thinks she's attractive, he does say to her, like, look, even though we got in a little tiff this morning, like, I don't want to make a decision out of emotion and I want to see where this goes. Like, I am very much focused on her. Very noble, right? This woman has been asking over and over and over and over and over again for reassurance about his loyalty. And that was him being loyal to her. So what happens? They are talking and he is being very quiet. He got feedback from the other guys about her behavior that wasn't great. And he is just kind of being to himself. And she does this little tantrum. She like gets up and like sits across from the room and pouts. And this is where I saw the shift happen. So obviously the fantasy bubble has been burst. There is that burst of the bubble, and that for a love addict feels like you're losing absolute control. What I thought was interesting in this shift, so they go and they start talking, and he's telling her, like, look, I told this girl that I am interested in you. I even told her, like, even though we got into an argument today, like, I'm still here with you. And she goes, don't you ever tell anyone about our problems. I'm paraphrasing. And spoke to him like a toxic mom is talking to her child. Don't you ever do that again, right? Now, if my child runs into the road, I might don't you ever, but not in this case, right? While very hypocritical, because number one, she's out there talking to everyone about everything. But this is where these manipulation tactics start coming into play. And we see things like double binds. Double binds is where someone tells you, hey, I'd really love for you to do A. And so you're like, cool, yeah, I can do A. Then you go ahead and do A for that person. And they're like, no, why are you doing it that way? Do it B. It gives this idea like you're never going to be able to make me happy. Like the person is always kind of moving the goalposts. She does this as well when she asks him, I asked you to do more for me. So where this comes into play is that a lot of the other guys who are not yet in this like connection, they have couples, but they're not really feeling that connection with them. They start doing all these cutesy things for the girls. And she sees that and she gets so upset with him because she asks to do more. Like, I want to be, I don't remember the word she said. Like, I love romance and I want to be adored. Like, I want the man that I'm with to adore me. When it's like, dude, he's with you all the time. He is working out with you. He is talking to you. He's loving on you. He's doing all the sweet things. And she just keeps getting on him. And he's like, what the fuck? Like, I can't win here, right? So, but still, he still listens. And he tries to make her breakfast. Unfortunately, under the circumstances, the pancake was a bit raw, right? And so it's the effort. She asked for effort. He put in the effort, right? Now, the pancake was raw. That could have just been a misstep because there were 17 other people in the fucking kitchen. She weaponizes it. So not only does she bring it up later, but she then asks Taylor, another guy, to help her, and then has the audacity to tell Jeremiah, oh, well, I had to get Taylor to help me in the kitchen. And just a blatant attack at him, like putting him down because he didn't cook the pancake right. So we saw this double bind in give me effort. He gives her effort, and then she puts him down and criticizes him. We saw the double bind around be loyal to me, reject the other women, but then you didn't do it in the right way because you told her we got in a fight. And for him, it can feel like he's going crazy. So it gives me very much like borderline personality tendencies. And I want to talk about this with you guys. Women with BPD are often misunderstood. They're called too much. They're called crazy. They're called toxic. They are terrified of being left alone. They're terrified of being seen and abandoned all at the same time. And what this looks like is texting someone 24/7 and then blocking them if they did not reply in the amount of time you needed them to. Saying that you want honesty, but imploding when it hurts. We've seen this over and over again. She explodes on him when it hurts. Idealizing a partner day 2, but then feeling betrayed by them day 5 when no actual betrayal happened, and fearing abandonment so deeply that you do things to push them away. However, afterwards you feel a lot of regret, a lot of shame, and lots of isolation. It's a pattern that hurts both people. And it's really it's rooted in unhealed trauma and a fragmented identity. It is incredibly insecure, and it is someone who is literally bleeding emotionally, but they're handing the knife to everyone else, right? So that is that. It really does give those vibes of, I hate you, don't leave me. And I don't leave me, don't leave me, I hate you, don't leave me, don't leave me, I hate you. There's a book on borderline personality disorder that is that exact thing. But again, it all works in trauma. The other thing I want to talk about is a little bit more on the manipulation that I'm seeing, the double binds, I told you guys I'd come back to this, the manipulation of, I don't have anyone else to talk about this stuff with because she used her daughter to only tell Jeremiah. She did not share it with the other guys. Now, I don't know if this woman is smart enough to do this and do it to be as tactful, or what's the word I'm looking for? Manipulative to make this plan up. However, this worked in her favor that she did not tell the other men about her child because he did not confide in them in the reality. So she says, "Oh, I'll tell one other guy, so you can go to that guy." Now, who is she going to tell? The guy that she thinks she has the best relationship with, of course. So she tells homeboy, again, forget his name. There's Austin Taylor. I don't know why I forget his name. I could see his face. And weirdly, rather than saying, "I have a daughter," she goes, "I'm a mommy." And he goes, like a mamacita? Because she goes, "No, a mommy." And he goes, "Like a dog mom?" Because it's just so stupid. Like, just say, "I have a daughter." Like, be a fucking adult. Anyway, so she manipulates so that now Jeremiah can only talk to the one person, and it's that person of her choice. It's so incredibly toxic. If you guys think about all of this, and if we just switch the characters around, people would have a fucking fit. So I want to talk about manipulation. It has become a buzzword, excuse me, but manipulation in dating can sound like, if you loved me, you would know what I need without asking. We're already starting to see aspects of this. They don't say this, but I wrote down like, you're abandoning me right now and not responding to me fast enough. You feel like they're leaving you by not responding fast enough. And also there's this blame that you made me act this way. You make me crazy. You could also see it just by starting to cry when confronted, which obviously this chick has cried like on every episode, shifting blame when someone sets a boundary, which we've seen. Jeremiah has tried to set a boundary over and over and over again, but also we've seen flipping rules mid-argument to keep the upper hand. That whole conversation about, how dare you tell anyone about our problems, when we're not even talking about that. It was literally a deflection, and it worked. And if this is you, I want to be clear, right? It is toxic. It is unhealthy. And it is most likely the reason why you continue to struggle in relationships. So, to bring it all together, we have aspects of love addiction, which both of them, I see that it's rooted in trauma. It's a lot of that love bombing. It's this fantasy. The fantasy I see of him is, I'm curious about his background because he seems like someone who actually feels comfortable in this chaos, comfortable in taking care of someone else. He's had every single dude there say, "Yo, this is an issue. Like, you're not exploring. Do you like how she speaks to you? What do you think this looks like on the outside?" Even Pepe, who's been there for 2 seconds, is like, "Did you like how she did a back bend and like cussed out the bombshell that is literally just here doing her job? Did you like that? What does that look like outside of here?" And somewhere in his fantasy, he thinks that she's going to chill out and that this isn't going to escalate, right? It's going to escalate. It's already escalating. And one thing I didn't tell you guys is America voted on which of the bombshells, like who they would be paired up with. So ultimately breaking up 3 couples, and America's vote broke this couple up, and it was epic. It was epic. This man is now forced into speaking to someone else and forced to have a bit of clarity, I hope. Now, I am very concerned. I would not be surprised if this woman sleeps on the bed next to him or sleeps on the floor next to him. I saw in the sizzle that she's like listening and like sneaking around trying to see what they're doing, to the point where Iris goes, "This is making me uncomfortable. She is making me uncomfortable by how she's acting." It's going to be nutty. I cannot wait to give you guys an update, but that's just my perspective thus far. I'll have a little bit more on Jeremiah as we see it go. I'm curious. This is really going to show his character and his true colors through this whole thing. His boys called him out. They try to vote her out of the villa because of the bullshit that they're seeing. So I am so excited to see where this goes. I will keep you updated. Other than that, if you guys haven't already, make sure to give me a follow on TikTok or obviously YouTube. And for those small amount of you that are listening on podcast, make sure to follow me there. Also, if you love this information, giving me a 5-star rating and review helps me give this information out to more people. The more people who listen to Dating Déjà Vu, the more likely you're going to meet a healthy, non-toxic individual on them streets or in them streets. So write a review, everybody. And other than that, I just want to remind you that it might be Deja vu, but it also might be you. Bye-bye.